Let us go now and say hello to the aforementioned Megan Anderson. Hello, Megan. How are you?
Hello, I'm good.
What a guy. Did you hear that from Chael?
I did.
Is that true? Did you have his back? What is he talking about, by the way?
I did. Well, I think it was the Algerian, like the female boxer.
Yes,
there was
Khalif,
all of that.
Iman Khalif.
Yeah, there was all of that discourse about the whole Olympic stuff. And I seen his video on YouTube that he posted, and I thought it was very well said, very well researched, and I did back him up on that. I got a lot of kickback for that, but I did agree with everything that Chael said.
Well, now you know that he saw it and appreciated it. And we appreciate you being here. This has been a lot of fun. We're having a blast, and wanted to have you on because you've become one of the best analysts in the game, and obviously with a big title fight in the women's division for PFL, it's huge. And of course, you know who Cris Cyborg is quite well as well. What do you think? You know, I told Chael, I don't know if you know this, Cris is the underdog going into this fight. Did you know that?
What?
Yes.
That's surprising.
Okay.
But I mean, kind of surprising, but I can understand with the fact that she hasn't fought in a while. However, the disrespect is a little much, in my opinion, considering the resume that she brings.
Do you think Pacheco... See, I think Pacheco gets a lot of love for the win over Harrison, and rightfully so, but people then just completely ignore the fact that Harrison beat her twice. And I feel like she was just lacking motivation. She's like, I have to fight this person for a third time. And I feel like we don't take that into account when we talk about their history.
Completely agree. And I also feel like 145 is a much better weight class for Pacheco than 155. I think 155, it was just too big. She wasn't able to be in like proper like peak condition. Whereas I feel like she's able to like 10 pounds lighter.
Okay, I do have to say, I got rid of Chael, and he keeps calling me. So I think he wants to say something. He won't stop calling me, and I've told him we've moved on. We have a new guest. Chael, we said goodbye. Why do you keep calling me?
No, Megan, I hope Megan doesn't think I'm being rude. I heard back from Bo Nickel. I just wanted to pay that one off. It turns out that Bo and Johnny are training partners. Bo refused to answer the question, and he credited Johnny with his own success and looks forward to Johnny and he rising to the top together.
Okay, well, thank you.
I just had to pay that off.
No, you do. That's a good journalist. Thank you.
I'm still gonna kick his ass.
Okay, sorry.
I love Chael so much.
He had to pay it off. We asked Bo Nickel a question. He had to give us the answer.
I did see that. He is such a character. I do not think that he would have come anywhere close to Francis.
Wait, he's paying you all this love and homage, and you're saying he can't hang with Francis?
I mean, I mean, maybe peak Chael, not Chael now.
Chael on steroids. Tropicana Chael.
Yes.
Filled with a lot of juice. Here she is.
I mean, could you imagine, though, what it would be like now, like MMA today, if, like, steroids were legal? I mean, I know it's not, but can you imagine the animals, like, with the way that the sport has evolved? I feel like that would be dangerous.
Well, I have a theory that a lot more people are on stuff than we think. I mean, there's a lot of smart people and a lot of smart science out there, right? Am I naive?
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, oh my God, you hear stories all the time about people getting around the whole IV.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You're not able to rehydrate with IVs, and I mean, people get around it all the time.
And that's just like the baseline. I'm talking about like the designer stuff, you know?
I know.
And by the way, we are not talking about this. I mean, elephant in the room as Cris Cyborg is coming up. It is a little weird. It's all Chael's fault. It's all Chael's fault. But could I ask you? I've actually never asked you this question. There's that video that people always bring up of like the way you looked when you walked into the Apex for your. Is that?
Oh God.
Can you clear this one up?
Okay, so we'd just gotten there, and they had like, there'd be like, I think like the clothing department was just like, you can't wear these shoes because they're branded like Nike shoes. And like, obviously it was under Reebok at the time. And I was just like, listen, this is like the second last pay-per-view of the Reebok deal. I was like, if you guys find me, just find me. Like, I don't really care. Like, I don't give a shit, whatever. And I was listening to music in my headphones, but what it is they make you walk so abnormally slow, and the lights are so bright. They're like those weird fake, like, they're like little like spotlights, but they're so bright that I was like partly blinded. So I didn't know where I was going. I was walking so incredibly slowly, and I was just like, listen, if you're going to find me for whatever I'm wearing, just do it already. Just let me get there. Let me get my shit together.
Did they find you?
No.
So everyone posts that video thinking that you're terrified to fight Amanda Nunes, but it's really because you were thinking about the fine and the shoes and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to get in there. I just wanted to get my hands wrapped, start doing my like pre-fight routine, all that kind of stuff. It had nothing to do with being scared. Like my thing is like, when I fought, I was more scared of like not fighting to my own potential. I could care less if I got submitted, I got knocked out. I'm like, because that's just a part of the sport. And when you're in a division like the featherweights, we all hit hard. Like there is like a chance with any punch that you could be going out. So like that was never, I've never been scared to fight anyone, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for Amanda, but I truly believed that if I had, different preparation, I think things could have gone differently, but they didn't.
What do you mean different preparation? Like the training camp was better?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that in retrospect, or you knew that in the moment?
Bit of both.
Okay.
I don't want to talk too much on it, because
I feel like you're giving us a morsel here.
The last time I told the truth about certain things, I had a lot of people attacking me.
Oh,
so
no, not here. This is a safe space.
I'm just gonna. It's so long ago now that it is what it is. I don't even fight anymore. Amanda doesn't even fight anymore. We're retired after the sunset. We had our moment. She is incredible. So, there's no point in reminiscing.
Amen. So what are you thinking here? What are you feeling? Before the fight starts, your prediction?
I don't think this one's going to go to the decision.
Okay.
Well, my thing is like with Cris is she tends to come out like pretty aggressive right off the bat. And it'll be interesting to see if Larissa is able to make her respect the power to prevent her from kind of like rushing in like she normally does.
Do you think Larissa is for real?
I think so, yeah. She's looked great in her last couple of bouts. Like, I would say like Cris has fought the much better competition 100%, like no doubt about it. Like she's been doing it for longer, she's been in every promotion. It's hard not to fight the best of the best when you've been doing this for what, like 20 years? Or whatever it is.
It's crazy.
So, but like Pacheco, she's great. She's got a ton of power. She's improving from fight to fight. And when that's what you want to see, is you don't want to see somebody that was beautiful timing on that
from Cris.
But
nice.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I love about Cris is like she could have went the old route, right? Like the way that she was winning was beating everybody, and she didn't really have to change anything. And then the Amanda fight happened, and she's like, okay, like you have two options, right? You can either go, I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing. This is just an outlier, like, and make excuses. Or you go, okay, like I need to make some changes. I need to work on this. I need to not walk as heavy, so I'm lighter. The weight cut's easier, so my cardio is better when it gets to fight time. Like, start implementing different facets of her game, because she's great. She's a BJJ black belt. She never really uses it.
Yeah, 9 years older than Pacheco she is. Ooh,
oh!
Jeez.
That was nice.
She's won 11 in a row. She has in that 11 4 boxing bouts, and I was wondering, and this is a topic heading into the Francis fight too. Like we saw what some boxing training did to Conor's game. It kind of changed him up a little bit, and sometimes I feel like people fall in love with the boxing and it changes the way they fight in MMA. Clearly not an issue here. She's looked good so far, but do you think that that's a real thing?
I think it can be, yeah. And I think because like I feel like it happens more so when you have a predominant striker because like the joy or like the appeal of boxing is 1000% like I don't have to worry about somebody trying to take me down. I don't have to worry about somebody trying to grapple me. So like they fall in love with that aspect of boxing because it's like, oh, I could just punch somebody and all they can do back is the same thing. So when they go back into MMA, they're susceptible to the wrestling because they're not used to that timing because they've been competing in something else that's just one discipline.
You mentioned all the belts, all the accolades. This would be Cyborg's 5th title. Invicta, Strikeforce,
that's impressive.
Bellator, UFC, and then this one. Never got the Elite XC one, but they didn't really have a 145 division. She probably would have gotten that one too.
Probably. When that's the thing is like, it's just so impressive when you have somebody that has been able to be so dominant in every single like promotion.
Yeah.
Like it's so rare. It's so rare to do.
So what happens here? Should Pacheco let go? There's nothing really going on. Should she keep squeezing? She could tire herself.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably let go. I don't think it's that tight.
Right.
I think Cris is almost out, but I mean, this could be Larissa like getting some, getting some air, relaxing, like going into, kind of settling into the fight a little bit because Cris has kind of hit her a couple times pretty hard. She's taken her down a couple times.
Oh, there's the head. Is Cris? She's not bleeding, is she? Is that blood from her? I don't remember that blood being there before.
Right. Oh, damn.
But maybe
So they're allowing
bleeding.
elbows. Yeah, I think from like above her left eyebrow.
Yeah.
It looks like it. I wonder what got her.
Clash of heads? I don't know. But yes, you're allowed to use elbows here because this is a non-tournament fight.
Oh, yeah. So it's just the PFL tournament that they no elbows, right?
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I'm not a fan of that, partly because like that's a huge part of my game, and I think it's a huge part of a lot of people's games. It can change the course of a fight. So, taking one small part from somebody's game that could be crucial to their success, I think isn't really fair. But not my tournament. Right.
But we got to see here because this could be the deciding factor for this round. I mean,
obviously. Could have been that elbow over the top, maybe.
Was it here? Okay, so that was a massive kick to the head.
Beautiful.
But where's the... Ooh, was it right there? Ooh.
Maybe.
That huge kick, and I think that was it. I think it was that right hand. Is that enough damage from Pacheco to win her the round?
No.
She cut her open.
I mean, yeah, but she didn't really do much else other than like one strike. Like she hit her a couple times, right? Little bit of a submission attempt, but it wasn't really super threatening. I think Cris with the takedowns, the pressure, the aggression, the control, I think she for sure won that round. Should be.
Worst cut you ever got in a fight?
Thankfully,
never.
Not
once.
Wow. The MMA gods blessed me in that regard. I did completely tear my UCL in my elbow though, and I broke my nose and I broke a hand. So no cuts though, thank God. Which I'm so glad because I'm terrified of needles. So if I'd had to get stitches, I probably would have cried. Like I would have been traumatized.
It's so crazy to me that someone who gets punched in the face for a living would be terrified of a needle.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea of having like sutures that's being sewn up. It's just sewing is for clothing, not for people.
Fair. Okay, so if you're Pacheco's team now, what do you have that moment into the round? What are you hoping happens here in the second?
I think she's got to set up her offense a little bit. She's not feinting. She's not throwing out that jab as much. And she's kind of, she's looking for that big shot, which is enabling Cris to kind of get in underneath her and get in on her hips for those takedowns. So if she's able to kind of keep that range, utilizing those feints, utilize that jab, I think she could start picking it up in this second round.
Heavy-handed. She rocked her there too. Is the cut reopening? Not quite.
Yeah, I had the first round going to Cyborg. But
Oh, hey, Jake. He's coming up later. Keep it down, bro. Oh!
That was nice.
It is remarkable seeing Cyborg still fight and still be competitive, still this good at this age. 39.
I know.
30 freaking 9.
I know.
Who do you think would have won, Cyborg or Ronda? In their primes.
Cris.
Easy?
I love Ronda, and I love what I'm going to preface this with. I love Ronda, and I love what Ronda has done for the sport. And I don't think, particularly women's MMA, would be where it is without somebody like Ronda. But Ronda had no striking to save her life. Like, it got exposed very quickly against a legitimate striker in Holly Holm, and Cris Cyborg can strike, and she's got a ton of power. So, like, she's getting knocked out pretty quick.
Okay, so now this is obviously with the knowledge of what happened with Holm, but in the moment when it was like the hottest debate, and Cyborg had to deal with the UFC, and she's Invicta, and she's trying to go, did you believe that back then too?
That Cris would have
That
was
she
going
would
to
have
fight?
like ran through her, yeah. Because remember there was a time where people were saying like Ronda versus Floyd, Ronda on the cover of Ring magazine. Remember all that stuff?
I do remember that, yes. My thing is, like, so many people can look good on mitts, but they're not very good when it comes to, like, striking in real life. And they did a really good job of marketing her very well on, like, she looked great when she hit mitts, but hitting mitts is not real.
She did knock out Betch Correa, if you recall.
Yeah, this is true.
It's a lot of, revisionist history on Ronda.
I don't really rate Betch either, so respectfully.
Fair. So this is more of Cris on the ground and pound.
Yeah. Well, this is smart fight IQ, right? Larissa's starting to get some momentum. She's starting to put on some pressure, starting to set the pace. Hit her a couple times. So Cris is like, okay, I'm not able to get my striking going this round. Let's take it to the ground, because it's been relatively easy so far for her to be able to take Larissa down. You know, Larissa's stuff like maybe 1 takedown this round, maybe 2. But as the fight goes on, it's going to get easier for Cris to exploit that area if Larissa's putting too much pressure as she's trying to get that big shot that she's looking for.
One thing I will say about Cris, obviously known as an incredible striker, her Muay Thai great, underrated to a degree on the ground as well. Like, she was always very well versed with her jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, we just never seen it.
Yeah.
It never got that far for us to see it.
She is bleeding a lot, though. She is tasting. She's got the proverbial crimson mask.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I feel like that's got to feel good for Larissa, for sure. Because, like, there's visual damage.
For sure. And that's why I wonder if the judges... So clearly the second round, I would say, is Chris's round. I do wonder if a judge or two, even based on the wonky scoring in the last fight, even though the right guy won, 48-47 was way closer than I thought. I do wonder if a judge or two gave Larissa the first because of the damage inflicted. Because ultimately, that should be the first criteria.
Yeah. I mean, potentially.
You disagree.
Yeah, but I feel like there has to be more
than just
like
one.
more than just one strike type thing. Because what is it, like damage, effective striking and grappling,
damage,
and
duration,
then like
dominance.
Yeah. So it's like
it's all
right?
very subjective and ambiguous.
But I feel like she didn't do enough in that first round. Like she had the one good punch that opened her up. But oh my
that
God.
is a gnarly cut, I have to say.
I don't want.
Look at you, the fighter. You can't handle it. If someone was like sitting at a bar with you right now, they would never know that you're a former champion, that you have actually been in the cage with some of the baddest people on the planet.
Yeah, no. I've opened somebody up in a fight, but like thankfully not gonna lie, it's a gnarly experience because I remember I elbowed it's like my fight in Australia. I forgot who I fought. And I remember elbowing her and like probably like a cut this long like opened up on her forehead and it felt like it just popped open. And I was like, oh, this is kind of gross. Like, what is going
Zara
on?
Farron.
Yes, that's it.
You were actually thinking in the moment, this is gross.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I was like, oh my God. Because I've broken people's noses, I've broken their orbitals and stuff like that. But I've never seen a cut open up like that in real time, like right in front of me. I was like, oh, it's kind of cool, but kind of gross.
Can you feel when you break their orbital? Like, can you feel the sensation, or is it too quick?
No, I didn't feel it. Like you kind of, like it starts to blow up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like as the fight goes on, or like in between rounds and stuff like that, and that's when you can kind of know. Wait, what are they doing?
Oh, they're talking smack. Larissa saying, "Come on."
Are they?
It's a little Max Holloway.
Are they talking smack in Portuguese?
Maybe. You know, Larissa was asked earlier this week, like, this has got to be like a dream for you, right? Like, you probably looked up to Cris. She's like, nah, didn't look up to her, didn't care for her. She wasn't my favorite. Which I
really?
thought, yeah, surprising, right?
Yeah. Did she did she look up to like Amanda or something like that?
The follow-up was not asked.
Oh,
I'm not the one who asked. I was watching an interview with her. By the way, what about her neck tattoo? I mean, as someone who has a tattoo or two, like this,
have a couple.
This seems a little intense. No, do you see that on Pacheco?
Couldn't be me.
Yeah, Jesus.
I don't think my bosses would be happy with that. That's
or just like
sure.
general life, right? Like you just go out and about with the neck tat. It's tough.
Yeah, that's one thing that that's a tough tattoo. I mean, I feel like it just depends on like what you want to do. Because like if you want to go into certain fields after you compete, like you can't really have all of that going on. It's like,
Did you always want to go into TV?
Ironically, no. It just kind of was something that I feel like the way that like my mind works, like it's very analytical and I'm able to like see patterns and break down, fighters and, oh, that was beautiful.
That was very nice.
Yeah, I can kind of like, it just kind of was like a natural progression for me. It definitely like just having like your own like YouTube channel, right, and breaking other fights where you can just talk about forever is one thing, but then like doing it for like TV when you have, only 45 seconds to talk and you don't know the question that the host is going to ask beforehand is like that. It's a whole different animal that I think a lot of fighters don't realize. Like when you make that switch it's a lot more difficult than you realize, and you have a producer or director in your ear giving you like, I need you to rap, or giving you,
it's tough.
Yeah. It's a whole different animal, but it's challenging, but rewarding in a very different way.
What do you like better, that or the broadcast stuff? Like when you're cage side, you're doing the interviews in the ring, like being the analyst or being part of the actual broadcast?
I kind of enjoy both. Like I like the ability to have multiple different hats. Like I commentate. And then I do the in-ring interviews after the fights, but then like I can also be an analyst as well. So I like being able to have different hats because I feel like it all helps in all the different aspects. Because like analyst hat, you start watching a fight, right? You start noticing patterns. You start noticing, things that certain fighters are doing. So you're able to kind of give that, notice or kind of highlight that in the moment. And yeah, I don't know. I enjoy all of it.
You're doing great. And
thank you. I try.
No, it's great to see. And Larissa Pacheco is doing great as well. I think she might be winning this round. Yeah.
I think she's definitely turned it around this round, 100%. And it's like her conditioning is exceptional. She's looked great. Because like this isn't a slow fight by any means. This is very high paced.
And so now you wonder if Cyborg's age comes into play for these last two rounds. She hasn't been as active as far as MMA is concerned.
Right.
She's 39. Father time undefeated.
It gets you. It really does. You see it time and time again. Eventually, it catches up to you.
And so,
But I feel like her reaction time is still pretty there. But
yeah.
it just could be like just.
Oh, there it was. Come on. You don't. By the way, in the history of Cris Cyborg's fighting career, you haven't seen a lot of people say, "Come meet me in the middle" to her.
No.
And you
And I
haven't
love
seen
that
scenes like
Larissa
that.
is.
You haven't seen
No.
Cyborg getting dropped and getting hit with shots. You haven't seen her getting cut and bleed.
No.
And so to me right now, going into this fourth round, Megan, it really comes down to that first. I think we both agree that Cyborg won the second. We both agree Larissa won the third.
Yeah.
You think that Cyborg won the first. I think there's a case to be made for Pacheco in the first, but I understand where you're coming from. I just keep thinking about that cut and the damage that was inflicted in that first. This
Right.
is, I mean, we could be witnessing a changing of the guard here as far as the featherweight division. And now that Kayla no longer fights at the featherweight division, this is really for the best women's featherweight in the world. There's no doubt about it, right?
Yeah. No. 100%. And well, because I mean, Cris has been at the top of 145 for forever, right? I mean, obviously,
Oh, yeah.
apart from Amanda, but they don't have a division no more, so it doesn't really.
And I doubt Amanda comes back as a 45er if she does come back.
No, it'll be 135. Like if she does. My thing is just like, I don't see any compelling fight for Amanda to come back right now, but that could change.
You don't think Kayla's a big fight?
Yeah, but I feel like Kayla needs to get past Pena first.
And if Pena gets
Which
by, you don't think that's a big one?
I think Kayla beats Pena, but I think it depends on how dominant she's able to be against Pena.
Okay.
Because Penya's a dog. Like, as much as it can be a little bit delusional at times, cutting her promos.
I like them.
She's a dog, and she does not go away, and she's a tough fight for anyone.
Are you surprised Harrison has made 35 twice?
I am, but my main concern for Kayla was just because you can make the weight doesn't mean you always should make the weight. And like I seen she can't, wasn't it like the week after her last fight she said she was like peeing blood?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I'm like, that's the stuff that like that concerns me. So I'm like, is it worth it for your health long term?
That's
because,
a great point. I mean, you're peeing blood.
like,
You're getting up there in age. You've had a long career.
not
You're a
healthy.
2-time gold medalist. You're a mom. Yeah. Is it worth it? The damage that you're doing to your body.
Well, and that's why I feel like if she does continue, it'll be like she'll fight for the title next. She might have one more fight if Amanda comes back and wants to fight her. If she wins the belt, and then that'll be it type thing. Because I don't think she can sustain that for too long.
No.
And I don't want her to sustain that for too long because, like, that's what a lot of people don't realize. I'm a big believer that like amateurs or like very early level pros shouldn't be cutting weight because you are going to be competing for only a small fraction of your life. Like, why would you want to ruin like your body and your hormones and, you know, screw up everything going on inside when you have the rest of your life to live?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
is it worth it
worth
at the
it?
end
Yeah.
of the day?
It's a very strong point. I don't even know if she fully knows the answer to that right now. Like in 5 years, she might look back and say that wasn't worth it.
Right.
What are we seeing here so far? Halfway through the fourth round, is Pacheco's in this?
She looks good. She looks like she's got her swag.
Yeah, she's calm.
She's kind of seeing everything. She's got Cris on the back foot, which
Yep.
very rarely happens.
She's biting on her feints there. I mean, this is impressive. Ooh,
Oh, that was huge, though. That hurt her.
yeah. That's the classic Cris Cyborg. You're up against the cage, right? You're back and
blitz.
she's just like,
Just winging punches.
so many have fallen. Now I'm impressed. You know what? If Pacheco pulls this off, it's almost more impressive to me than the Harrison win because I really think motivation was a factor in that one for Harrison. She just wanted to leave. Sort of like DJ and Cejudo a little bit. the second one that they
Right.
had. This
Oh,
is,
yeah.
you know what I mean? DJ was done at that point.
Yeah, no, 100%.
This one is.
Oh, he was so checked out.
Yeah, and he knew probably that if he stayed champion, he couldn't get traded or something. They would never trade him as champion, you know? Not suggesting that he like threw the fight or anything like that, but motivation is a real thing, right? If your heart isn't fully, cracked her again.
No, if your heart's not in it, it's hard to get up, train twice a day,
Yes.
3 times a day, 6 days a week.
Have you ever been close to coming back? Like, have you ever been to a point? No, there was nothing.
No. I love competing, but I fell out of love with the process of getting there. So I don't miss cutting weight. Like it was getting, like I didn't want to do that anymore. It's not, I don't even think I can make 145 pounds anymore.
Wow.
I didn't even want to try.
How bad was it towards the end?
I was training so much that I was walking so light that I had no energy to do anything. So I couldn't get above like 158 pounds.
Jeez.
And my body was just dying. I was tired. I was exhausted because I was just pushing myself so hard. And I was stressed about making, because like my last fight, I had to make 145 even. I hadn't made 145 pounds even since 2017.
Damn.
So, and like a couple of
4
those
years.
ones, like I had to use the towel, like I had to use the curtain because I was like, I'd almost missed weight and like a lot of really bad weight cuts. So yeah, I don't miss sitting in those bars. My knees hurt, my hips hurt, my back hurts. I was like, I don't want to do this no more. I'm also like people like I'm like 6'2", so like stuck in those tiny bars. I'm like I don't fit.
Yeah, you're at like the local Marriott or Hilton, and those are tiny baths. Those aren't like the ones in your
Like the airport hotel bathrooms. No, I'm like all pretzel, like all like folded up, trying to fit my body in this tiny bar. It was not pleasant.
What do you think would have happened? Like, if you would have beaten Amanda that night, would you have retired because you had nothing left, or do you think that would have like re-energized your love for the game or reignited it?
I don't know. I've never really thought about it, partly because like it didn't turn out that way, but I definitely think my life would be very different, 100%. Sure. I think like like I would have to like think hard about if it was something that I wanted to continue doing, because I didn't enjoy towards the end the whole training process.
Sure.
And the coaching I received.
I get it. I say no more. Say less, as the kids say, Megan. Say less.
Less.
If you are cornering Larissa, what did you tell her going into the fifth?
I mean, put it all out there.
Just
like
go for it.
But be smart.
Okay.
I mean, don't trade in the pocket like this. Like put Cris on the back foot, put her up against the cage. You know, as soon as she gets her back to the cage, you know, that's where you go like your 3-4 punch combinations. Like, don't let her set the pace. Go first, be last.
So far you don't like it. You don't like what you're seeing from her.
I'd like her to open up a little bit more.
Okay.
I like the pressure that she has, but when you look at the exchanges, it's like she's waiting for something to happen. But it's like she's waiting for Cris to throw so she can counter, but she needs to be a little bit more open with that lead hand to draw those big shots out of Cris so she can counter.
Flip side, if this is even going to the fifth, what does Cyborg need to do? What do you want to see?
I would say
from her?
like don't let Larissa back her up.
Okay.
You take the center and stay there. Like this.
Here she
this
goes.
is what you want to say. Oh, Larissa with the failed takedown attempt.
Yeah.
That was not a smart decision.
Perhaps
This could have
she got
just
cracked.
this could have
be it,
just
right?
won Cris
Yeah.
the fight. Yeah. Oh, she's back up though.
Yep.
But that's a pretty big moment for this 5th round. And if it's like say it's 2-2 going into
far.
the 5th, like that these moments are huge.
One thing I was wondering about Larissa going into this fight, she's won the tournament twice, $1 million plus whatever she was making. For someone like her, that's more money than she was ever going to make in the UFC if the motivation dampens a little bit when you're making that kind of money. You know what I mean? This kind of early in your career. I know she's 30, so she's technically not, but you know, most people in her position in MMA aren't making $1 million, right?
No.
Yeah.
I will say, and I feel like, okay, how much of Kayla's in that 3rd fight was that too? Because she'd
Sure.
won it a couple
Yeah.
times. But I feel like with the name of Cris Cyborg,
Yeah, this is...
should motivate you. It's like if you could dethrone somebody like Cris, right, who is multi-organization champion, I feel like that's a pretty big deal.
I mean, this is legacy stuff right here for Cyborg. The next 80 seconds, she could get her 5th belt. No one will probably touch that for the foreseeable future. She's bleeding a ton.
I don't feel like ever.
Yeah, it's going to
I
be
don't think
tough
we'll ever see that.
given the landscape and how few major promotions there are these days.
Right.
And
And the
on flip
weight
side-
classes those
and-
promotion has.
Right, exactly. And on the flip side, here you have 57 seconds, and Pacheco, I think, is still in it. Maybe.
That was large. Like, this is just like veteran moves by Cris. Is like she knows like she just needs to go first. Like, keep going first. Whereas like Larissa's kind of slowing a little bit. Oh, that was a nice.
When you say going first, what do you mean? Just like dictating the pace, dictating the
Yeah.
action?
Yeah. Because it's like Larissa's almost like she's hesitant. She's waiting. She's waiting. It's like she's waiting for Cris to
counter.
throw first.
Right.
Yeah, to counter. And it's not going to work against somebody like Cris.
Why not?
Well, just because she's just too strong. She's too athletic. And she has so many tools in her belt.
Tough rounds to score, right? I mean, in that one, what do you think? Cris probably?
I think Cris won
Yeah,
that
yeah,
5th
me too.
round. So like 2-5.
I think Cris got it.
Definitely
I think Cris got it.
1-2-5 Cris.
That's what you're
3-4
Yeah, because you're sticking with one
Pacheco.
Cris, right? You're sticking
Yeah.
with one. You're sticking with two. Two was the easier one to call. I think she won the 5th. Yeah, 3. Maybe it comes down to that first still. Fascinating. Look at that blood.
Well, and you think, right, how good is Larissa Pacheco's chin?
Yes.
Because she got cracked many a times and didn't go down. And look at how many times Cris has knocked people out. Like even like in her last Bellator bout.
Oh yeah.
Like she's got a tremendous amount of power. And the fact that Larissa didn't even, I mean, she hurt her a little bit, but I mean, she was able to recover. She's tough as nails.
Yeah, her last Bellator bout was almost exactly a year ago, and that was the Katzengano win. She won that in the first round. What grade are you giving Cris tonight? Considering the age, considering, she's fighting once every 2 years in MMA these days. What do you think?
I feel like that's not really like her choice. I feel like she would like to fight
sure.
more consistently because like she knows that she's coming to the end of her career. I gotta give her, like, a lot of people might not agree with it, but I give her an A plus because she's a pioneer. I have so much respect for her. She's done something that nobody has done ever in the sport of mixed martial arts. Multiple belts in multiple promotions. Like, you can't have anything but the utmost respect for her.
Agreed. She may have just gotten her 5th title. Those stats would suggest, but the stats don't always tell the story. Here we go.
No.
I think Cris gets it.
We'll welcome to the smart cage for the presentation of the world title belt, His Excellency Bandar Al-Khadi, Vice Minister of the Ministry of Sports
Let's see.
and
They always drag it out here, right? I mean,
The chairman of the Saudi MMA
oh, everyone's
Federation,
getting a mention.
along with President of PFL Fighter Operations Ray Suffolk.
Okay, all right.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance,
Yes.
we'll go
Okay.
to your three judges.
Let's get to this. Let's get going.
Scores of 49 to 46.
I want to know.
Judge Hadi Ali,
49, 46.
46.
Uh,
Judge Sal D'Amato, 49 to 46.
Wow. 4-1.
For the winner by unanimous decision. And now the PFL Super
It's gotta be Cris.
Women's Featherweight World Champion, Cris
Yeah.
Cyborg.
There it is. Wow. 49, 46.
I would say like 1, 2, 4, 5.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
I think three was the most dominant for Larissa.
Agreed.
She tried to put her head through it.
It's a big ass belt. But man, Cris Cyborg at 39, still doing it. The problem is, Megan, who does she fight? Like, there's no, you know what I mean? That's the problem now. This was a big fight, but then where does she go
Right.
from here? There's no Kayla.
Well,
in
I
PFL.
know she was looking for that Leah McCourt fight in Bellator, but didn't Leah she just got beat though, right?
Yeah. And I mean,
Like recently.
is Leah on the level of Larissa? I love Leah. But I mean, does Leah give Cris a tougher
Right.
fight than what she just saw here? This is one of her tougher fights today. She had to dig deep. She got cut. She was bleeding.
I don't think, honestly, I don't think anyone on the Bellator or PFL roster can beat Cris. I think Larissa was the closest competitor to possibly doing that.
If only there was a former Invicta champion out there, not contractually tied to any. Or maybe you are. Do you still have fights on your contract?
No,
Uh,
I don't.
is this
No,
it?
no,
Is
no,
this
no.
the seed? Is this it?
No, stop it, no. I had to have 2 surgeries on my nose to get it fixed so I could breathe properly. I'm like, my surgeon was just like, listen, like I'm only gonna do this if you're like done. I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I want to be able to breathe properly. So no, I'll interview Cris. I'll be an
Grapple?
analyst about it.
Grappling? Can you even do that, or is that too tricky?
I mean, I could grapple, but I just haven't grappled. I got nails now, Ariel. Like
yeah.
I'm like girly girl now.
Yeah, I get it. So do you do any training anymore? Like
I
when's the
haven't
last
done
time-
any MMA training. I do like I just recently moved to a different city, so I do want to get I want to get back into boxing because I do miss like hitting mitts and stuff like that. But I haven't done any MMA training since I last fought, which was March of 21.
Serious? Not even like for fun?
No.
Wow. Is it because I've heard this sometimes from basketball players? They say, I didn't pick up a ball for 5-6 years after I retired, 10 years. Is it because you just want nothing to do with that chapter anymore? Or is it you're tired? Like what?
A bit of both, like partly like because I I left the gym and stuff like that in Kansas City. And partly because like I did not want to do any form of MMA training for so long. Like I go to the gym and I lift weights and stuff like that, so I still stay in shape. But I do want to get back into like hitting mitts and stuff like that, because that's the part. Like obviously, I'm a striker at heart. Like I like being able to knock people out. Like that was always my thing. So I do want to get back into doing that and finding somebody to hold mitts for me, because it's fun. Like I'm so far removed from it now that like I've kind of processed all that stuff, and I can like find enjoyment in it again.
I box a couple of times a week, so.
Oh really? I love that.
Yeah. Look.
Okay.
Why
Oh
you
my
laugh-
god. I love it.
Why are you laughing?
It's the sound effects for me.
Huss.
Oh, that's funny. I love it. I love it,
I
Ariel.
could get one of those fights. Why not? Why not me?
Do like an you versus Ben Davis influencer
come on,
fight.
Ben ain't on my level. What are you talking about? I don't fight jabronis. I don't fight guys on
Ben,
5-fight losing streaks.
Get Ben in there.
Come on.
Hey, he'll do it though.
He will do it. He will do it.
That's you have to respect him. He does it. He gets in there, win, lose or draw, and he
Yeah.
puts it on the line. He puts his money where his mouth is.
And it probably isn't a very expensive opponent to line up. But no, if I fight, I'm going for, maybe a Jake Paul fight. You never know. No, I'm just kidding. He's probably listening to this right now. I don't want that smoke.
Yeah.
Megan,
do something. I want to see.
No,
or
I'm
like do
good.
a grappling. Do like a grappling match with
I'm
somebody
good.
who doesn't.
Listen, we're both retired, okay? From athletics, we're both retired. We're done, okay? I'm not going to drag you back. You don't drag me back.
Okay, perfect.
But this was fantastic. Really, really fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the insight. You keep doing great work on TV. You've got Fight Camp with ESPN. You're doing fantastic stuff with Invicta as well. So well done to you. Keep it up. And we'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I love this format.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon. There she is, Megan Anderson.